Mr. Filoni, the savior, the Jesus of our Star Wars, is like basically freaking doing his thing, making 7, 8, and 9 worth it for the overall.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tardy to the Party, aka T3P, where us two hooligans talk shop about the holy trinity of pop culture, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. I'm your boy Jsib, joined by, as always,
I'm KP here.
Finally, after the long drought, we got some Star Wars content finally, in a little show called Bad Batch. Season, is this 3 or 4? Okay, 3. Okay, good.
Season 3. 3 episodes.
Yes. 333. Got a nice premiere. 3 episodes dropped. How many do they have this season? I didn't even check to see.
Like 13.
13 or 15, somewhere around there. So, not a bad little chunk.
15. Pretty sure it's 15.
Generally, we like this show here. Sometimes we feel like it gets a little slow and a little lulls, but when it pops off hard. But KP, what did you think of the little premiere we got here? This little 3-episode dropski.
Our 3 episodes they dropped, it made sense why they dropped these 3 at once. I wouldn't say a whole bunch happened. We got some nice tie-in of the lore. The lore is coming together. Mr. Filoni, the savior, the Jesus of our Star Wars, is like basically freaking doing his thing, making 7, 8, and 9 worth it for the overall canon arc. He did it with Clone Wars, so now he's doing it with these whole Mandoverse and this other show and all this, and he's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna make 7, 8, and 9 relevant now too, and
I'm gonna pull off a second miracle.
You're not gonna hate him anymore when I'm done, but no, I obviously, I don't know if we're getting directly into spoilers here, but so I'll hold my tongue on what exactly I'm referring to at the moment. But I will say that, yes, it made a lot of sense to do these 3 first, because not a ton happened, so it just kind of opened up a question of, well, what's going to happen next, if you will. So
yeah, I agree. Definitely, it almost felt like it was already written that they knew they were going to drop the first 3 episodes at first. Because I agree, if they would have dropped these one at a time, it would not have been good at all. Because not a lot happens, but yeah, like you said, there's definitely a lot of bricklaying to setting up. Tie-ins to 7, 8, and 9. So whilst these 3 episodes were all about getting the ball rolling. That's basically all it was. So while there's nothing really major or big hype pop-off moments, I think it does the job it was set out to do, to get this season, get the ball rolling, and seeing kind of the trajectory going on. Overall, I thought it was a solid, not a solid, but solid start to the new season. But we always know that hype will come at some point.
Yes, it will.
So with that being said, I say we just jump right into spoilers. If you want, we could dive over the place, or if you want to just go episode by episode.
If we want to do episode by episode, so our first one, we kind of get Omega at the facility, the new facility where she's being held captive, which the planet they're on, I think it's one that we saw in Clone Wars, but I could be mistaken. I'd have to go back and dig. But in any case, she's not a prisoner, but is a prisoner. Yeah. And her, as she likes to put it, her older sister, is
Emery.
kind of what?
Emery.
Ah, yes, Emery. She's kind of a very emotionless. And we basically kind of learn that they're taking blood samples from clones because they're trying to figure out what clones, I guess, genetic bloodstream slash code that's like unique to them, if you will, which is kind of odd, but that's just how I'm going to say it. Work with us here. To which one will transfer the M count or the midichlorians,
Yeah.
as George
Yeah,
Lucas.
it seemed like they were looking for somebody who had a high M count with a low or non-existent like degradation to their M count when it's like being cloned
Yes.
or something like that. I don't know the
Yes.
exact science. I'm not floating
Yeah,
here.
they're trying to figure out what clone basically was able to keep like a relatively same in M count. And they keep running these tests on blood samples and things like that, and we come to find out that Omega is the key. And oh,
During this time, Nalase is
the Nala
basically
say
taking the blood, but
yes.
then not actually putting it in the machine to register
Could
it.
not
She's
remember her name, but
um,
yes.
also time has passed. Omega's hair is a lot longer than it was when we last left her. Um, I do like how the very first like words uh, of this season, the episode started is Crosshair saying when have we ever followed orders, and I was just like, immediately I was just right, and I was like, yeah, my boy, my boy, my boy.
True.
But yeah.
Oh, you mean? Well, there's the flashback too. Like they showed Tech dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the recap, and then like right after it cut to
Because
black
Tech
after
said that
that.
too. Yeah.
Or yeah, maybe it wasn't text.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a batch line. That's why it resonates with us. On Hamo.
Mm-hmm. Basically, Omega does notice Crosshair is also basically a prisoner here on this facility, and I cannot remember if it's in. Yes, I think it is in this episode where Omega asks like what he's doing there, and they're basically saying how Crosshair is like going through some what they call like almost reprogramming, I think is what maybe they tried to call it, but
A
effectively
re-brainwash.
yeah, like effectively they're trying to like I think brainwash him again or basically force him to like follow orders again, but he's just kind of a zombie, and he just does not he can't anymore because I think his chip's out, and they just don't know that. And then is my guess here. And then so like he's just kind of miserable, and he's even I love too how Omega eventually like sneaks out and goes to his cell, and he's like, get the hell out of here. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, he's like, if they catch you down here, like it's gonna be real bad. And he's like telling her, save yourself and whatnot.
Yeah. Telling her that leave him behind because he would do the same to her, and that he's
Yeah.
not a brother. Quote, I'm not
Yeah.
a brother. I belong here. Which Omega says none of us belong here. Kind of setting up the little threads for episode to come. I'm really excited for the Crosshair redemption arc. They better fucking give it to us. If they don't, I'm out, Chief.
They probably will, and we'll for sure get his death. I don't know if we'll get the entire, like, as far as like for future by the end of the series. I don't know if they'll all die, but I would bet anything Crosshair is probably the next to die. Like he'll redeem himself and then he'll die.
Sounds about.
Because if I really had to guess, but yeah.
We got Batcher also that is in these kennels and stuff that gets hurt at one point. Omega heals or tries to heal, and then does Batcher run away? What the hell happened? Because she loses him at some point.
Omega sets her free.
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I must have missed that or looked down when that was happening because I just remember that he was lost at some point.
Basically, she healed Batcher, which caused Batcher to be domesticated, which the Empire didn't want. They literally were trying to just use these aliens as attack dogs. Well, she got domesticated, so then when they were going to terminate her, Omega set her free, and then the Doctor tried to spin it like an evil asshole would and said that Omega just doomed it because it's grown up in this captivity state with them, and now it's going to go out there in the wild where there's a whole bunch of bigger, creatures that, hunt and kill and all that. So, yeah. Does that happen in the first episode, or is that the third episode? I think that's the first episode.
We run into Batcher again.
Yeah.
I can't remember when that conversation. Batcher.
I just can't remember which episode. Because that's the thing is episode 1 and 3 are literally all
Omega.
It's all one arc of Omega, and like episode 2 was just like, here's what Hunter and Wrecker are doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And here's what these guys are up to, man.
And it was just. That's why I was like, well, this is an odd, choice to do it this way, and then that's why I also said, well, that's why it makes sense that they dropped the first 3 episodes. But it's like they really probably. I think if you swapped episode 2 and episode 3, if you swapped those, and then if they just released episodes 1 and 2 for the launch, that would have made sense. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. They let us know what Hunter and Wrecker are doing.
Yeah, it would have made sense, but then I feel like you would have had people complaining of like, oh, where's Wrecker?
Yeah.
And all the other boys. But really the only thing I think left in the first episode, she releases Batcher to run away to safety. She can go save Crosshair. She gets caught, but the Emery basically kind of saves her and gets her back to her cell and hands her back her stuffed animal, which to the point is the first time we've really seen Emery kind of show any well, this would be empathy more than emotion, but any sort of emotional anything.
Yeah.
So we kind of got a little hint, a little inkling there of maybe there could be some redemption or for Emery somewhere down the line.
Possibly,
that pretty much ends episode 1, which was also called Confirmed. And episode 2 is called Pass Unknown, which we opened to a weird judgment change.
But it was the crime syndicate, man. It was awesome. I thought that was like a cool thing. It's like, yeah, basically, it opens to the crime syndicate, and then I can't remember what that alien race is called, but we've seen them in Clone Wars too. When Maul took them all over. But in any case, this story, it leads to Hunter and Wrecker. I think they're mercenaries, kind of like they're doing the whole mercenary / bounty hunter thing, and they bring this Pike in to this crime syndicate, and so it's kind of cool because it's like, it's the criminal underworld of Star Wars, and of course, like, this is where Hunter and Wrecker have to go because, I mean, Sid is out of the question or out of the picture now. So
Yep.
since she
That's what they
sold
got
him
to do to
out,
make money.
yeah, this is what they got to do to make money. So yeah, it was just very cool opening, and this is essentially what leads them to go to the planet where the research facility used to be. Yeah. And well, what they get there, and then there's teenage clones,
Yep.
basically clones that probably were being raised to eventually be soldiers in the war, but you know, they're just kind of leftover. Um, you know, not really. They're probably gonna rapidly age later, but yeah. This was very interesting how they were all like basically in their teenage years.
Yeah, they basically they're trying to on this planet find a bargain to get coordinates to Hemlock's lab so they can get back to Omega. And during this time, you can get the vibes that Hunter is very, very desperate to getting Omega back to a fault. It would seem he's trying to rush things to get them in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is slightly after where they after that they stumble upon the Hemlock's previous lab, which is now destroyed. They run into young clones, obviously.
Yeah, they kind of look at all the wreckage, and I remember they say they're like, look, they scorched there's like, look, they scorched it all just like they did on Camino.
And
So,
then
yeah.
they end up getting attacked by what I learned is slither vines, because I had no idea what they were, and thank God they called them by name. Well, they called them by name because I was like, oh, okay, that's makes the notes.
I was like, oh, okay, they have names now or whatever.
They eventually make it back to Leader John Moxley. I'm sorry, Leader Mox. He random clone agrees to go with them despite the slither vines. They get attacked by the vines, get a knock off the facehugger fucking little things. We also learn that Mox respects the batch. Kind of at first, he seems a little hesitant on betraying them, but then gets convinced by the other bitch boy clones to check their ship, and then they all get away after battling a tentacle beast. So.
Yeah, I loved how the slither vines turns out to be the giant octopus from Lord of the Rings. So you know,
didn't realize we were in Moria.
Yeah. So that was, you know, interesting, and I like too how like they're throwing the thermal detonators down into its mouth, and it's just like tickles it, and he's like, go get the crate, and they just this whole, you know, it's like box of TNT and explosives just down its gullet and just blows the hell out of it, and you know, very, very nice touch. Dave and other creators. Yeah. And yes, they eventually, they all get away. So, and that's just kind of all that happens. So it kind of leaves us a question of like, are we going to see more of these young clones, or are they just going to probably dump them off somewhere? And they'll probably dump them off somewhere, but it would be kind of cool just to have maybe some more clones that, you know, are kind of a part of the Clone Force 99 team while they try to find Omega. That'd be something. We were missing Echo in this episode, but then again, now that I remember, I think Echo is off doing his own thing. So yeah, really, Clone Force. So yeah, 99 really is just Hunter and Wrecker now. Until we get Omega and then Crosshair back. Because unfortunately, Tech is, I think, axed. I think Tech is for sure dead then. Maybe not. This is Star Wars, and somehow Tech has returned. But at least that might be the line that we get. So we'll
somehow
see.
Tech has returned.
Someone made a joke, I think, because Disney was wanting to buy something, and it was like the same thing. But anyway, uh, it was another franchise. It might have been like a joke about Harry Potter, and it was like somehow Voldemort has returned, and I was like,
Oh
oh god. But anyways, that's not important at all. So we'll see what happens with Hunter and Wrecker, because again, episode 3 goes right back to where Hemlock and is it Emery? You said is the
Yeah, that's
older
the
older
clone sister.
sister.
Yeah.
The older sister and Omega and Nalase. Yeah.
Episode
And
3 is called
also
Shadow of Tantus. Is that the planet you were looking for earlier? Tantus?
it might have been that, yeah. I think so. I believe that they are at that planet at some point in Clone Wars, but but episode 3 though is pretty freaking awesome, and it's mainly because of it's because of the one character, and uh
I think I know who you're
that,
talking about.
and the fact that the guy who's voice acting the character is the actor that's played him since Return of the Jedi. Beautiful. It's beautiful. So, yes.
Yeah, we open up with basically, just to boil it down, Hemlock and Nalase are leaving the facility temporarily to meet somebody. We will get to that somebody here in a second. That KP's so excited about. Which basically
a high-profile, unexpected guest.
Yeah.
I think is how they put it.
But it makes sense with what they were setting up here.
Yeah.
But that leaves Hemlock to leave Emery in charge of drawing and analyzing Omega's blood while they are out. So Nalase is not there to essentially save
Omega's blood.
Yeah, essentially save Omega in this case.
Right.
So she gets her blood pulled. Emery takes it to the lab. Omega tries to go and essentially take it, kind of can't take it, so eventually takes Nalase's data pad, because before she left, Nalase whispered something to her on what to do. She told her to go grab her data pad.
She's
now,
like, yeah,
while this is all happening, who's Hemlock and Nalase meeting, KP? Who they have a high profile meeting with?
Our main dude, Sheev Palpatine, bro.
Papa Palps is back!
The Emperor makes his landing. I figured it was gonna be him. It was still like you knew it, but then you thought like, oh, but they might be tricking us, you know. But then no, it was him. It's great. He shows up. He's like, Hemlock, give me an update on Project Necromancer. And now it's all tied together. Mandalorian Season 3 and Bad Batch Season 3. And it all makes sense now. And we all know that now Omega probably gets away from the Empire at some goddamn point, because we're at this point in time, they're working on Project Necromancer, and we know on Mandalorian, which is 10 years after BBY, or, yeah, whatever. Battle of Yavin, whatever. 10 years after that, so we know that Omega's not, like, she is the key, but they don't get that key. That's why they're after little baby Grogu during Mandalorian. And that's how you know Omega and Grogu probably both get away, and well, who the hell knows? I mean, we'll get that tie-in way down the road, because obviously, like, it takes them 60 years to get old Daddy Palps back in episode 9. But anyways, you know. And however, they did figure it out. Well, we had to test it out on our dummy Snoke first, so
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways,
I don't think they're gonna. Don't think they're gonna save that, but
well, yeah, it's just, you know, that's what
they can't save his death. The way he died is so fucking pitiful. Sorry, Filoni. Hey,
yeah,
If you can
Well,
do
that's
it.
why J.J. Abrams was like, okay, well, you made him a useless character. I'll finish that out of having him as a literal useless character. That he was just a experiment, if you will, for Daddy Palps to come back. So, anyways, pretty hot. Palpatine and Hemlock, and Nalase, they go into basically like a chamber that of course is red because this is the Empire and he is a Sith, so we have to have everything associated with the color red, and we don't have the color red, it's wrong. So,
except for their
they're in
blasters, those got to be green.
Except for their blasters, those do have to be green. That's the rule. So they're in this chamber. And basically, like, all you really got from it was, like, Hemlock is like, hey, I'm really close. And he's showing him the data results, and the Emperor is like, for the Empire to last and to succeed, everything resolves or, like, relies on this project. And the Emperor basically tells Hemlock that you'll have pretty much unlimited funding, is kind of what it sounds like. And Hemlock's getting all evil grin smile. He's like, the evil scientist, like, good.
good.
And so he's pretty ecstatic. He wants some title. He even says it later to the Emperor, like, I want some head science title, like, for throughout the galaxy. And so that's like, that seems to be Hemlock's ultimate goal. Yeah. And of course, like, so going back to Omega, though, like you said, she stole Nalise's data pad, and, well, of course, she gotta go back to her buddy. So she goes back to old Crosshair.
Basically,
breaks him out.
Yeah, it was just constantly like, hey, I've got a plan. I don't really have a plan, but this is the best we got, man. we gotta go.
That was great. That was great. She busts him out, and he's like, "What's the plan?" And she's like, "Yeah, I don't really have one. Just kind of playing this out as we go." Yeah, like, he's like, "Oh my god," and then so they escape through Badger's like hatch. I think they barely get away. And then once they're out, they see old Palp's ship with the direction it's going, and Crosshair's like, we're gonna follow that for the flight path. That should get us to the ship that we know that got dumped. Because they're essentially trying to go to that ship that's been wrecked so they can get a signal sent out, and hopefully it will get to Hunter. That's their hope and pray. Not exactly sure what attacks them in the forest, but it's some kind of creature.
Yeah, I'm terrible at Star Wars creatures, so I'm the wrong person.
Yeah, well,
is it a Wookiee?
I was gonna say, like, it looked like it was supposed to be a Wookiee, but then it's something else entirely. So I'm not really sure. And I believe, like, so they sent out the other dogs to go get Crosshair and Omega, but then I think those dogs kind of fell underneath Badger, correct? Because then they started to attack the big alien.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even catch that. So yeah, I guess they must have fell in line behind Badger then. Yeah, what a G.
I would assume. I assume. Yeah.
We also do get hints of Crosshair's symptoms getting worse. His hands starting to shake
his
a little
hands
more.
Shaking. Yeah.
So to your credit, could set up a redemption immediately followed by a death for him.
Right.
During all this, Crosshair asks Omega if she knows all the execute plans, and of course, Tech made her memorize it within like the first day or two of her being on the squad. So they execute Plan 72. Pretty good plan that you think about it. They sent Omega up first, correct? To go up on top of to shoot up to the ship. To distract, because Crosshair was still down below. Because they ended up having to flop. Because they ended up having to flop places.
So Crosshair, basically a small battalion catches up to them with their own ship, lets their soldiers out. And then Crosshair is basically using, like, his training, if you will, and like the fact that he's just, he's kind of a badass, and he beats the hell out of these, like, pre-stormtroopers, if you will, and it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick, he's basically outsmarting them and beating them up, and then Omega, yeah. Then Omega gets up into the ship that's kind of hovering there. And then she knocks out or kills, maybe stuns, I can't remember, the trooper that's in the cockpit. And then she basically kind of like gets in that guy's lap because she's tiny while he's knocked out. So then she sits in his lap and she takes the gun controls and then she starts shooting at the troopers. And then, yes, and then at some point,
I think she lower like one of those cables with like the discs at the bottom to pull him up.
She does to get Crosshair back up. So she comes down to the bottom. So then Crosshair gets on. When Crosshair gets up there, then he goes up to the cockpit and he like throws this trooper out. And then Omega's like telling Badger to come. So then Badger makes it. So our dog is okay. Like, her new friend is okay. The Yes even showed up after fighting the big old alien. She showed up to fight the stormtroopers. So they all three, like, and then we think they're getting away, but then that's when, like, the not TIE fighters, but like basically Republic or Empire ships, battleships kind of come, and they're trying to shoot them down, and basically Hemlock has ordered them to kill them. And then Emery ends up saving Omega once again, because while all of this was happening, Omega's blood ended up getting tested, and then they realize how her bloodline is a key for an M count not to be deprecated when doing the cloning process. So Emery says this to Hemlock, and Hemlock he tells those ships to back off, which they do, because he's like, well, we need her alive. He's like, well, I need her alive. And then Hemlock just kind of says, this is only a minor setback, which means that he's going to use all that funding from the Emperor any way he can to find her again. So our next couple episodes coming out, I would predict that they are going to rendezvous with Hunter and Wrecker, who are probably not going to be happy too much about Crosshair being there. But at the same time, Omega's going to vouch for him, so that's going to be now the band together. And again, it would be nice to see if like the young clones kind of stick around too. You know.
I would agree. It'd be cool to have a. I mean, I know it's kind of a cop out because I really don't know how these guys would exist necessarily by this point. The own thing's been shut down for a while. But either way, it's nice to get potentially one more generation of that maybe we can follow.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
And again,
I'm with you. It'd be nice to have one more generation.
Yeah, and those, so like Mox and the other two, I can't remember their names.
I don't either. Yeah, Mox is the only one I knew.
Yeah. Though again, those two are like, they're your standard clones from Kamino, so they have the advanced aging in their genes, so they will start to get a lot older. And yes, Jay, what you're saying is very correct. We could have a whole nother show, maybe another time jump down the line where those clones will be in their prime. They'll be, late 20s, in their 30s, whatever, as warriors. Omega will be a little older. I personally don't hope that this isn't the last that we see of Omega for Star Wars content, because I mean, I don't want to say like they would kill a child, but we've all seen episode 3, so I don't think that she'll get the axe at the end of the season, but it also could happen just so it kind of closes the book on the story of the Bad Batch, and that's what it is, and it doesn't really leave anything out there for us to be like, well, where the hell was she during, X, Y, and Z? It's
Yeah,
then,
that's kind of the
because
problem.
that is the issue when we expand upon the universe and we create content that's in between trilogies and things of that nature, is that's just kind of where then it comes into play. Is like, well, where was X person then during all the movie? What were they doing? And again, but it's universe expanding, and not everything needs to revolve around the Skywalkers. So,
Agreed.
I don't know.
Agreed.
So
It'll be interesting to see how her story plays out, because somebody who seems to be as important as she is, even with Grogu, even to throw Grogu out there and how important he seems to be.
Yeah,
it's going to be kind of interesting in how they fill in those blanks of where they were in these certain times, and you can easily, they were off fighting this exile, and there's a lot of things you could do. I mean, they love fucking exiling every other Jedi. I'm sure that's what they'll do with the fucking Grogu too. Oh, he's off on some fucking planet drinking some fucking pink milk this time, fucking around. Who fucking cares?
I will say the case with Grogu is that he's 50 years old during the time of Mandalorian. He's 50 to 53 years old. Mandalorian takes place, again, 10 years ABY, after Battle of Yavin, which is episode 4. So it's 10 years after episode 4, it's 6 years after episode 6. 6 or 7 years after episode 6. Anyways, so Grogu's around 50, so then we have the giant 60-year time jump to episode 7. So Grogu, if Grogu is alive, the Empire, that's going to be the interesting thing, is how exactly did the Empire get their way to where they could bring Palpatine back on Exegol? That will always be the interesting thing, of how Filoni's going to make that all work with this stuff. I mean, assumingly, that's what the movies they're going to come out with about, and how he's going to close the Mandoverse, I would assume, is how that's going to play out. But potentially not. We don't know. Big theory, though, that if Grogu is alive, he could come back into the new trilogy that they're going to, again, center around Rey being older and, making her own... I don't know if it's
Academy,
even like...
Yes.
Yeah, because, that's the whole thing with Rey, is, Rey kind of figured out that Jedi were not, ever actually worth being. Rey, that's the whole... And that's even the significance of her lightsaber being yellow.
Yeah.
Because it truly is represent balance, not oh, I'm all the way good or I'm all the way bad. So yeah, her academy thing, so I don't know if they would bring Grogu around for that. And again, at that point, they would probably make him adult, if you will, for his race. And maybe by then we'll finally have a name for his race. But I don't know. I kind of doubt it.
Still can't believe we don't have a...
We have Yoda, Yaddle, and Grogu, and they still don't have a name for the race.
That was the annoying thing when Mandalorian first came out, when everyone was calling Grogu Baby Yoda, and I was just like, he's not Baby Yoda. And they're like, well, what do you want me to call him? And I was
child.
Just yeah, just the child, because they're like, well, what race is he? I'm like, I don't know what his fucking race is. We never got his fucking name. Just call him the child. He's not Baby Yoda. He's not Yoda.
No one knows the name of the race, but anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as Bad Batch goes, solid start. Again, episode 3 was big hype, mainly because we got the Emperor and the Project Necromancer tie-in. So again, it's all of Filoni's work.
Trying to save another trilogy, and by God,
Filoni
anybody
and
can do
Favreau.
It's them too.
Whatever.
It is both.
Yeah. It is both of them.
What'd you guys think of Bad Batch season premiere? Are you looking forward to what's to come this season? I think we are. So, KP, where can the people find you?
You can find me on all socials and on Twitch at Politesk.
And you could, same. You could, well, not
and the
at
link down
Politesk.
below, because he says it all the time. The link's down below.
Link down below. You can find me at your boy Jsib on Twitch, Twitter X, gonna give it to you. Instagram, I don't use Instagram, but motivate me to get back on and use it. I don't know. Fuck it. All right. Anyway, all right. Thanks for tuning in. Love you guys. All right, I'm your boy Jsib. This is KP. Say bye to the peeps, KP.
See you later, guys.
See you later.